everybody, I hope that you're all doing good. Well, this is my first podcast, and basically I decided to discuss with you subjects that I've seen before during my previous years at uni, or simply some topics that grab my attention. Hopefully they can be useful to some of you, especially university English students. So let's just get started. My first topic is about theories of language acquisition. As you may know, during the 20th century, several theories have been put forward to explain the process by which children learn to understand and speak a language. We have, for instance, the behaviorist theory, the innateness theory, the interaction theory, the cognitive theory, and many others. I am going to consider each of these theories in turn, but before doing so, it's important actually to acknowledge that they should not be seen simply as conflicting theories, replacing each other in a sequence. Actually, we need to admit that each theory has added to our understanding of the process of acquiring a language and placing emphasis on the different aspects of this process. So let's start with the first theory, which is behaviorism. Before we discuss this theory, keep in mind that linguists concerned with this theory are known as behaviorists. So, behaviorists developed their theories while carrying out a series of experiments on animals. It sounds weird, right? They observed that rats or birds, for instance, could be taught to perform various tasks by encouraging what they call habit forming. And they rewarded desirable behavior, which was known as positive reinforcement, while the opposite, the undesirable behavior, was punished or simply not rewarded at all, and it was known as negative reinforcement. The pioneer of this theory, the behaviorist B.F. Skinner, then proposed this theory as an explanation for language acquisition for humans. He argues that after doing experiments on animals concerning behavior, the results show that they are not restricted only to animals, but they surprisingly include human behavior. So he suggested, Skinner of course, he suggested that a child imitates the language of his parents, and successful attempts are normally rewarded, because an adult who recognizes, for instance, a word or a phrase spoken by his or her child will praise him by giving him what he's asking for. That is to say, successful utterances are therefore reinforced, while unsuccessful ones are simply forgotten. Now, after explaining the basics in this theory, the behaviorist theory, I am going to talk about the limitations or the criticism of this theory. I believe there must be some truth in Skinner's explanation, albeit there are many objections to it. Well, I'm going to mention three main ones. Only three main ones, okay? The first thing is that language is based on a set of structures, on a set of rules, which could not be worked out simply by imitating certain words or phrases, right? And there are mistakes. There are actual mistakes made by children reveal that they are not simply imitating but actively working out and applying certain rules. For example, a child who says drinked instead of drunk. So he's not copying an adult but rather over applying a rule. He has discovered that past tense verbs are formed by adding a D or T sound to the base form. And those mistakes occur because there are irregular verbs which do not behave in this way and which still a not learned rule by the child. So such forms are often referred to as intelligent mistakes or virtuous errors. Okay. Well, secondly, few children. The second limitation, okay, states that few children receive explicit grammatical correction. They found out that parents are more interested in politeness and truthfulness. They are more interested in teaching their children how to be a good boy, like to always say the truth, for instance. The third limitations, the last one, is or states that the majority of children normally go through the same stages of language acquisition. They go through the same definite sequence of steps, which are known as the developmental milestones. You can check the internet for more information if you want. So this sequence of steps, apart from certain extreme cases, like the case of Jenny, which I'm going to mention later on, seems to be largely unaffected by the treatment of the sequence of steps seems to be largely unaffected by the treatment the child receives, or the type of society in which he or she, grows up or lives in. In addition to that, there is evidence for what they call the critical period for language acquisition. Children who have acquired language by the age of about 5 to 7 will never entirely catch up. And the most famous example is that of Jenny. She was discovered in 1970. Let me just confirm the date. Yes, she was discovered in 1970 at the age of 13. She had been severely neglected, brought up in isolation and deprived of normal human contact. Well, of course, she was mentally ill and underdeveloped in many ways. However, during the subsequent attempts at rehabilitation, her carers tried to teach her to speak. Well, despite some success, mainly in learning vocabulary, she never became a fluent speaker. Well, that's it for today's podcast. I hope it is not tedious as I imagined. Give it a thumbs up if you like it, and leave any comment, any suggestions or any ideas. Well, to the next podcast, take good care of yourselves, and bye!